already tried to film this once. I stopped in the middle because I didn't like it. So I'm trying again, and let's hope that this one is more of a success. Hi, I'm Chris. Welcome back to whatever the this is. Today we're doing my April wrap up. Turns out, even though I thought I only had 3 books to talk about, I actually have like 8, somewhere around that number. I've started and got up to whatever the most recent release of the Lakeshore U series by L.A. Cotton. College ice hockey romance, obviously set in Lakeshore U, but not really, you'll see when we talk. First book is called Bite the Ice. This is actually a novella, really short, and we're following, I don't even know what the name is. It's Ella and Connor. It's a second chance novella. It's like alright. It's literally like 70 pages though, do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not with these characters enough to form some sort of attachment or likability to them. Let's move on. The next book is also a novella, but this one's a lot longer. It's called Iceburn. This one we're following Dana and Aiden. I don't even know what trope this is, to be honest with you. She has actually graduated from university. She's moved back to this beach town that she lives in. Her best friend is an assistant coach on the college ice hockey team, Aiden, who is the male love interest. I think he like ends up doing something problematic on his team, so now like this best friend that I keep mentioning is like babysitting Aiden over the summer. I don't know, I might be wrong with that, to be honest with you. So that's why they're together, and that's why they keep seeing each other, because obviously when she wants to hang out with her friend, he's just there. And so a romance forms between Dana and Aiden, and it is really cute. Move on. After that comes the actual first full-length novel. This is the only book that's out, I'm pretty sure. I don't know when the second book comes out. The actual first book is called Break the Ice. This is a brother's best friend trope. They're also roommates. She ends up going into her freshman year at this college, and she ends up moving in with her brother, who lives in a house with a couple hockey players. It's very much Grumpy Sunshine as well, but I would say it's reverse Grumpy Sunshine, where Aurora is grumpy and Noah is sunshine. Don't remember much about the plot, but I do remember I liked it a lot, so that's fun. That was really like anticlimactic, but like, yeah. After that, I read Bad Reputation by Kristen Rebecca Ritchie. Finally, this book has been on my TBR for over a year since I finished Some Kind of Perfect, and because it's really long, it just really stressed me out. But then there was one day where like my Wi-Fi went out, and so I was like, do you know what, let's just start this book and see how much of it I can read. And I read like 120 pages in one sitting, and so from there I was like, right, just keep pushing through and you'll get it read. And so that's exactly what happened. I ended up pushing through and I ended up reading it, and it was incredible. I just love this universe, this series, these characters. It's so good, it's incredible. Rose and Connor are literally my favourite people ever, and so every time they appeared in this book I was like, yeah, they're my fucking parents, I fucking love them. We're following Willow and Garrison in this book. This book is really long because it's technically 2 books put in one. Whatever it takes and wherever you are combined, and then also put in chronological order because those books are in like past and present perspectives. I don't even know how to explain it because this book takes place over years. There's so much character development, so much growth, and just so much of everything. I loved it. If you've read the Addicted series and you haven't read this book yet, it's literally the same vibe. So after that, I finally read A Million Kisses in Your Lifetime by Monica Murphy. I absolutely adored this book, and I can't even tell you why. I just did. It did something for me. I was craving a new adult high school enemies to lovers-esque romance at the time, and I read this and it was so good. It looks really long. It's not. It's either it's not, or I just loved it so much that I just wanted to keep reading. I don't know. We're following Crew and Rain. Honestly, I don't even know that much about this plot. All I know is that they share a class together and they get partnered up to do a project, basically like getting to know each other. It's so stupid, kind of, because it's so like you can tell that this is just gonna like move the story forward to an extent, kind of, really, not really, but also kind of. There is one thing I really like about this book, and it's the constant mention of Ren being pure. Oh my god, like if you've lost your virginity, like it's literally the end of the world. Do you know what I mean? Like she's one of those girls. She's so judging, but obviously throughout the course of all these pages she ends up growing as a person and realising that it's not that big a f***ing deal. But it was just really annoying in the beginning because I was just like, girl, like why are you degrading your best friends because they are having sex and you're not, and you think you're better than them because of it? It was really annoying. But you know, she ends up growing and learning and maturing throughout the book, and she gets less irritating. The constant mention of art, loved it. Springtime by Kai Stevens. This is like Bookstagram's current favourite book, with good reason, because I really, really liked it. So we're following Harper and Luca. Harper is in college for like physiotherapy, I think that's what she's majoring in, and her professor brings out this new project in which people from the class are in small groups and they are going to be working with one of the sports teams at this university, you know, for physiotherapy things. She has a crush on this baseball player, and so she's like, oh my god, I hope I get the baseball team. She doesn't, she gets the football team, but her best friend gets the baseball team, and she's like, oh my god, let's ask if we can switch. The professor says no. Harper is just thinking on her feet, and she's like, it's actually a conflict of interest for me to work with the football team because I'm actually dating the captain. And so they end up getting switched because she's dating the captain, right? However, she's not dating the captain. captain. But then when everyone finds out that these two friends managed to switch, they all ask why, and she has to say the lie again. And she has to be like, yeah, I'm dating Luca. And so they have to fake date to show that she's actually dating Luca. You're probably thinking, why the would Luca just agree to randomly fake date this girl? And it is because he actually has like a busted knee somewhere on the leg. He has a busted leg and he's playing football. He can't really afford to get it like checked out by a doctor because medical bills. So he's like, look, I will fake date you if you do your like physiotherapy magic on my leg. And so she agrees, they agree, they fake date, they work on his leg, and it's history from there. This is a really bad explanation. It's so cute. There are so many scenes in this book. I read this book on my phone and bought the paperback, even though it's only book 1 in a series. Book 2 isn't even out yet. It's an illustrated cover, and I have no doubt that it's going to end up getting picked up by a publisher and get published in books that do not match this edition. It's going to be different heights and art style. That's how you know it's good, because I bought it even though I'm almost certain it's going to get picked up by a publisher and they're not going to match. The future books won't end up matching, but I still bought it because it was so good. That's like the one reason why I never ended up buying Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, because I knew in my core that it was going to get picked up by a publisher and that the future books weren't going to match. And look what happened. It got picked up by Atria, I think, in the UK, or like Piactus. I don't know who picked it up in the UK. It got picked up, the editions don't match. But I bought this one because it was so good. Book 2 has already been announced and it's coming out next month, and so far there isn't any word on a publisher. This is a book that I would recommend to people that have but people who are like beginners in the romance genre or just want to get into more romances but they haven't read that many. Do you know like how people recommend Emily Henry? For me, she's a little bit too much on the women's fiction side. This is like an actual romance, but I think it's so good for people who are just getting into the genre and want to read more but don't want to go too deep in. This is a really good one in my opinion. Those were all cute reads. After that, I ended up binge reading an entire series. It's the Vancouver Wolves series by Odette Stone. Book 1 is called Puck Me Secretly. This is my favourite by a long shot. This book is actually very good. The other books are like okay to average. Like, I believe their names are Rory and Matt. They meet at an airport. They end up being seatmates on a plane. The plane ends up crashing. They survive a plane crash. Airport people end up putting them up in a hotel and they end up having a one-night stand in a hotel, kind of, right? They're expecting to never see each other again. Max has just been traded to go on the Vancouver Wolves hockey team, and Rory's dad owns that team, and so she's interning for her dad for a year, and so she's like very closely working with all the players on this ice hockey team. So there's kind of a forced proximity aspect. There are two very common themes in this series: forced proximity and really extra and messy endings. The next book after that is actually a novella. It's called Hook My Heart. I can't remember what the characters' names are for this one. Sorry, I'm not gonna look it up. Don't care enough. Childhood friends to lovers, brother's best friend, forced proximity. This book starts out in the present day where this guy, who I have no idea what the name is, ends up coming back to Vancouver because I think he ends up getting traded to go back on the Vancouver Wolves hockey team, right? His best friend is actually leaving Vancouver to do some undercover work. The undercover cop, his dad, actually ended up dying a couple years ago, and ever since then his sister has just not been dealing with it well. And so he tells his friend, can you please like move into my childhood home with my sister just to make sure that she's like doing okay whilst I'm gone for 6 months? And he's like, okay. There's a trope in this book that I absolutely despise. I'm gonna move on to book 2, Home Game, Puck Me Secretly, and Home Game. These are like the two like pretty good books, and then the other ones are just not that good. I know that the girl in this book is called Zoe. No idea what the guy's called, right? They end up meeting in a library because he is like absolutely a fucking noob when it comes to working a MacBook. He was like freaking out because his like dock menu, you know, at the bottom of a MacBook, like disappeared, and it's like, girl, just move your mouse down. That's literally what Zoe was like move your mouse down and it will come back. He's like, oh yeah, you're such a smart ass, you could do my taxes for me. She ends up doing his taxes for him because she's really smart, and so they end up keeping in contact because of that, because like, hello, do my taxes all the time. If you're that good, I'll literally pay you. And she was like, okay, I could use the money. Something happens which leads to the guy basically offering if she moves in with him. Forced proximity again. There's a romance from there. It is really good. It's really cute. It's really sweet. If you like gift giving in books, you will love this one. Let's move on to book 3, which is called The Penalty Box. I did not like this one that much, but I still give it 3 stars. Like, it was good. I enjoyed it at the time, but like, it wasn't actually that good at all. But this one's following Mika and Charlie. Mika is friends with a bit of a dodgy person, and so it's not good for his image. He like gets arrested or like brought for police questioning, which sends the media into a frenzy. Like, the like manager of this ice hockey team is like, he's a little bit too much of a PR nightmare, we don't want him on the team. But then his agent, who is called Krista, she comes important in the next book. Fun fact. She's like, Mika's getting getting married actually on vibes. That's a lie, he's not getting married. So we end up having a marriage of convenience trope with him and this girl called Charlie. Charlie is Krista's personal assistant. They end up conveniently getting married and it goes from there. Boss proximity, obviously, because they're married they have to live together. It's a common theme in the book, I told you, common theme in the series, boss proximity. The final book, I'm pretty sure this is the final book in the series, it's called High Risk Rookie. The girl in this book is Krista, who I mentioned in the last book, ends up having a romance with this new rookie ice hockey player. Let's talk about it. He's called Levi, and basically she's been tracking this guy. Not tracking, that sounds really weird. He's got another agent, he's on another team, but he's not really taking it hockey seriously. But he has such good potential that Krista is like, I want him. I want him on the Vancouver Wolves team because he's really good and he deserves to be there. Right at the beginning of this book, she's looking for him, she finds him, like she tracks him down. She ends up meeting with him at like a bar. They get very drunk and they end up kind of accidentally getting married. This book is kind of my least favourite, I think. I didn't really like it that much, I'm not gonna lie. Sorry about it. Ugh. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, and I'm back. Literally just tell you about one more book. The final book of April that I read that I never got a chance to speak about was Emily Henry's new release, Happy Place. I loved this book so much. I need it to come out in paperback. Miss Girl Book Lovers got me a bit scared for what Emily Henry was doing in her writing games. I did not like Book Lovers. Beach Read is like one of the greatest. I tell so many lies, it's one of her greatest. It is her greatest actually. It's not the greatest book of all time, but it's very, very good. I love that book. Happy Place is just under Beach Read. That's when you know, like, Emily Henry, Miss Girl. What is this book even about? I don't really know. I mean, that's a lie, I do know. It's a second chance fake dating thing. This girl called Harriet, she has like all these friends, spend like every summer at this like summer house. One of these friends in this group happens to be like her fiance. However, in the present day, they've like split up and not told anyone. But then when they all go to this summer house, the fiance is there, and they're all there because one of her friends is getting married, so they all have to be there. But everyone thinks that Harriet and Wynne, who is the guy, ex-fiance, they think they're still together. They have to fake date to pretend that they're still together, and obviously, like fake dating goes, and we end up falling back in love. In the past, we see them meet, fall in love, and there's just like the cutest quotes ever. And then in the present, you realise that they always loved each other. All you generic book girlies who like to read romance but not actual romance, you know, we love a good women's fiction with a romantic subplot. Read Happy Place. It's really, really good. I highly recommend it. It was great. It was excellent. Those are all the books that I read in April. So thank you all for coming to my TED Talk, to my wrap up. Hope you guys all enjoyed this. If you did, leave a like, comment if you've read any of these books, subscribe if you like romance books, because that's all I ever talk about. Let's be so for real. I'll see you in my next wrap up. Peace out. See ya. Bye.